It's so powerful to have someone stand up and talk about something they care about and go, why don't you get involved? The most important thing to do is just start.
Hi, my name is Riku and I'm a documentary filmmaker from East London. I post my films on my YouTube channel and they're all about railways and public transport, and also looking at current projects that will have a huge positive effect on local communities. Come with me on this 3-part video journey exploring how you can make your very own local impact film. About a year ago, I made my very first film, which was called A Bus Route Change Disaster, and it explored issues that my local community had faced as a result of changes to the local bus network that had been made. And so local communities have been affected. And so I really did want to talk about this, but I hadn't yet decided that I wanted to make a film. So the way in which I connected to the Save Our Local Bus Routes campaign, which is headed by Liz Martins, is through a friend who had been following the campaign for a long time. She invited me to one of the campaign's meetings in a church, and I was really connected to their cause and wanted to tell that story. So I called up Liz Martins and I said to her, you know, I can make a film for you. And it was such an impromptu thing. And I was like, yeah, I could do this. Liz was so happy about it. She was like, yeah, of course, completely encouraged it. She was so glad to get their voices out there. Very early morning. It was my very first impact film that I'd ever made. I had some really amazing contributors who told their own personal stories of how the changes had impacted them. So what's important in convincing your contributors to record an interview with you is to be able to know how to write a good email or a good message on social media, or to know how to conduct a phone call. You want to make a good impression on them and make them understand that what you're trying to do will benefit the local community and that your main goal is to get their voices heard. A conversation often is what gets you going. Don't just jump right into saying, hey, do you want to be part of my film? You should give some kind of background and then maybe propose the question later. Connecting to this cause in my local community really inspired me. But I want to learn more from someone who's been doing this since she was a kid.
My name is Amy and I am the co-founder of an environmental education charity called Kids Against Plastic. It was one I started back in 2016 when I was 12 and 10 with my younger sister Ella.
Hello, we're Amy and Ella Meek.
We started off as a really small campaign that me and my sister were running.
Kids Against Plastic.
And in the 10 years since that, we have become an official charity here in the UK, and we work internationally with a network of over 300 young people and with schools all around the world to teach them and teach young people about these issues and also help them to start making a difference in their school environment and more broadly.
Well, when was the moment where you decided, right, let's put our heads together and try and make a difference?
Me and my sister always grew up as really outdoorsy people. My sister was a huge animal lover. We always had this connection with the natural world, and from that, this want to protect it. And back in 2016, we came across the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and it was through these that we kind of really came across the impacts of plastic pollution in particular, and were just so unaware of the impact that our own habits could be having on this issue. But we also at the time saw a TED talk by 2 sisters from Bali who'd run their own campaign against plastic bags on the island. And when they started their campaign, they were 12 and 10 years old, which was the same age as me and my sister. So that really inspired us to actually do something ourselves and start making a difference. A lot of it was sort of figuring it out as we went along. How could we get people to care about this issue? We realised quite early on in our campaigning the importance of communicating with other people, getting them involved, making this an issue that we were all working towards together instead of just us. So one of the ways we do that is through supporting the other young people that we work with to share their stories.
Hi everyone. As you know, in April we finished The 1 million litter pick.
Because it's really hard to understand the impact that these are having on real people and real places until you start to tell the stories of the people and the environments that are being permanently affected.
Hi, I'm Amy, co-founder of Kids Against Plastic.
And I'm Ali, Chief Pickup Officer at Kids Against Plastic. I hate seeing plastic littered in the environment.
For example, one of our 12-year-old members create a video where she talks about this litter picking challenge that she's running through Kids Against Plastic and how she wants everyone to get involved.
Beaches and parks.
That's so much more powerful than going, okay, well, this amount of plastic is going into the oceans each year. Actually, having someone so young be willing to stand up and talk about something they care about and go, why don't you get involved? It's just a so much more powerful way of communicating that.
For someone who would like to make an impact film, what advice would you give to them to get started?
The most important thing to do is just start, because if you put it off until into the future, until you have like the equipment that you need, or you have the story you need to tell, or you have the issue that you're kind of dead set on, you're just going to kind of put it off and never start. And it's way more important to have people communicating these issues, making a difference imperfectly, than it is to have someone create the perfect film.
You just learn along the way, don't you?
Absolutely.
That's the whole point. And often the story that you're trying to tell changes while you're filming, and while you're speaking to different people and exploring the issues.
Yeah, it's absolutely a journey, and I think that's one of the best bits about it.
I think that your story is so inspiring, especially considering how early you started this project. I hope that this story, our conversation, will inspire those watching.
Yeah, I hope so too, and thank you so much.
I think you can learn so much from listening to the experiences of people like Amy and her sister. It's really inspiring to see people at such a young age make such an incredible impact through storytelling. Though it may seem daunting at first to go out in your local community and meet new people, it's really important to understand that very small steps can make such a huge impact. Now it's your turn. Think about something that impacts your daily life or your neighborhood. Do your research to find an organization or a group to work with. Ask them if they want to participate in your film. Good luck.